invincible ignorance is that it may be impossible for the individual to remove his ignorance because he has no way of suspecting that he is ignorant. For example, a waiter who is not aware of the poison on the food that he serves. So that's an example of invincible ignorance. No? Or the other causes of invincible ignorance is that although one may realize that knowledge at a certain point should be acquired, but it is impossible for him to obtain the knowledge. For example, a doctor who is assigned to cure an impossible disease. Wa pa jay kaayuhan para sa nahitabo karon sa ato ang palibot kaning COVID-19. Oo man ta kabalog yun say tambal or vaccine kaya napata sa trial no nagabuhat sila o so that's I would say we are still in that example kuan pagyud ta kana we are in the state of ignorance. Okay, or another example of causes of invincible ignorance, for example, a an aborigine or a native from a remote area niya niadto siya sa Manila unya naka-violate siya o traffic rules, no? All of this of the person's lives naalang gid siya dito sa ilahang lugar unya first time niya adto sa Manila unya na nadakpan siya kay tungod naka-violate siya og traffic violate rules. So dili na to matawag nga kuan ni kanang so mo na example of invincible ignorance. So what are the moral principles? So this is what I want everyone to know that the invincible ignorance destroys the voluntariness of an act. Thus, no objectively wrong act is culpable or responsible if it is performed in invincible ignorance, inasmuch as the element of knowledge is not due to the fault of the agent. In short, invincible ignorance eliminates responsibility. So, sa katong mga example na ko ganina, dili man dito kasalaan doktor na or from the moral perspective katong niadtog Manila nya wala gyud siya chance nga nahibal-an yun niya na mga traffic rules. So dili na to siya matawag nga morally wrong to nga ang iyahang gihimo. Pero namagod ta sa balaod lahi sila nga domain, no? So we will talk about laws and also conscience in the week 5 of our discussion. So siguro balikan lang nato na. Okay? So that's all for ignorance as one of the modifiers of human act. Now let us proceed to the second modifiers of human act, and this is what we call passion or concupiscence. What is passion? Passion is a strong or powerful feeling or emotion. It refers more specifically to those bodily appetites or tendencies as experienced and expressed in such feelings as fear, love, hatred, horror, sadness, anger, grief, and the like. Now, there are two types of passion or concupiscence. What are the two types? We have antecedent passion and consequent passion. So, what's the difference between the two? Now, antecedent passion pertains to the occurrence of passions prior to the act of the will and is not therefore willfully fostered. It may happen that the person is emotionally aroused to perform an act, for example, the instant feeling of joy at the immediate sight of an expected visitor or visitor who is your friend or your cousin or one of the members of the family nga na-miss kay nimo, no? So, or the quick occurrence of a sexual urge at the unintentional sight of a naked woman. So, these are examples of antecedent passion. Now, what about consequent passion? This pertains to the occurrence of passion as deliberately fostered by the will. For example, a man who willfully thinks about what may cause him to be angry to arouse a decision to harm, or a woman who decides to submit for abortion because she dislikes pregnancy. So at this point, there is already a deliberate act wherein there is knowledge and freedom. Okay? So what are the moral principles concerning passion or concupiscence? In antecedent concupiscence, it diminishes the voluntary nature of an act. So it impairs both knowledge and freedom, whose full employment determines the perfect voluntary nature of an act. So na ay kaning diri na ay defect sa imong voluntariness. So mo diminish ang iyahang voluntary nature of an act. In that case mo diminish po ang imong moral accountability. While in consequent concupiscence, it does not diminish the voluntary nature of an act. It does not impair the knowledge and freedom, which both determine the perfect voluntary nature of an act. So, at least we have seen the difference between the two. Ang naay moral responsibility ang consequent passion. Okay? Now, let's proceed to, so that's all for passion or concupiscence. Let us proceed to the third modifiers of human act, which is fear. So what is fear? Fear is defined as the disturbance of the mind of person who is confronted by an impending danger of harm to himself or loved ones. So there are four types of fear, namely light fear, grave fear, intrinsic fear, and extrinsic fear. So what is light fear? Light fear, it is the type of fear in which the evil threatening is present but slight, or serious but remote. So sa may example ani kana ganing ah, gikan sa inyong eskwelahan pauli ninyo sa inyong balay murag naay danger nga imong ma-encounter. Pero ang nganong malight fear man siya kay ang distansya dili man siya layo gikan sa imong eskwelahan sa inyong balay. So tapos daghan pong mga tao, so dili jud kay kaingon nga mahadlok, no? So that's a light fear. Now, grave fear, this type of fear in which the evil threatening is serious and severe. Kana ganing mawad ana jud ka sa imong right mind ba, or kanang mahulog na siya nga act of man, you are no longer conscious tungod sa imong kadlok, no? So that's a grave fear. Now, we have also intrinsic fear. It is the type of fear in which the evil threatening proceeds from within oneself. Kanang sa imong kaugalingon ba? For example, madlok ka nga mo tambok. So, mo na nga to the point nga di na lang jud ka mo kaon kay madlok man ka mo tambok. So, mga na intrinsic fear from within. Extrinsic fear, this is the type of fear in which the evil threatening proceeds from outside of the self.